Hello and welcome to the Rise Podcast, episode 8. 8 episodes already. I started it quite some time ago, but I feel like that's flown by and I definitely want to make it more of a consistent thing. I feel like I'm just still getting into the groove of it, and whenever something pops up that I can make a video on, then I absolutely will. What's just happened to my chair is absolutely flown backwards. But no, this video is just going to be a little bit of a roundup on 2025 as a year in general and a Q&A, and then we're going to head into 2026 and what my plans and goals are going into it. And there's a fair few questions, so I will get into them, but I had a little reflection today when I was getting ready to record this podcast episode. I thought these podcasts are not podcasts. They're literally like my YouTube videos where I'm in between meals or just chatting to the camera, yapping, right? That's simply all it is. It just doesn't involve any training or food, and there's no cuts and not me standing up. I'm just sitting on my desk with my webcam and my microphone. That is the only difference, really. So yeah, I don't know, maybe you guys enjoy it, maybe you don't. Like they get decent views as well. Like I'm really shocked. I'm surprised that people actually do watch them, because sometimes I can get a bit bored of myself. I'm like, there's no way people enjoy these types of videos, like generally even the YouTube ones, because I just do the same thing over and over again, but people seem to enjoy it. And I enjoy filming them a lot, and the messages I get from a lot of you guys as well. I will carry on doing so. As long as you guys enjoy them, let me know if you ever get bored of them, all right? But I've got a nice old caffeine-free Diet Coke, voila, and a water to the side of me as well, ready. I'm not sure how long this podcast episode is going to be. It's probably going to be a bit of a shorter one, because I'm not going to be covering any specific topics. But what I will do is start off with some questions. Actually, I'm going to start it a bit differently. Okay, so I'm going to start off with a YouTube question I got, because someone commented on the YouTube video with a question for the podcast, and it's Xavier Connor. What's your thoughts on eating close to bedtime and your body prioritizing digestion instead of muscle repair? So to be honest with you, I think the most important thing in regards to that, and I'll touch on this one very quickly because it's going to be more of a 2025 sort of question box, but essentially I think your adherence should be the biggest factor. And what I mean by that is a lot of people struggle with appetite the most during nighttime, that's when they're hungriest, right? When they start thinking of cravings and pizzas and all these different things, right? So an approach that I take with a lot of my clients, especially during dieting phases, is prioritize food pre-workout, all right? So before your actual session, so you're fueled up for the training session, and also before bed, because adherence is the thing that matters the most out of all. If you're not adherent to your plan, you're not going to achieve the results that you want to achieve, right? So that is a very, very big sort of thing, and I use it on myself too, where my coach created a plan for me, and I told him, hey, I want to put in a good chunk of my food before bed, and that's what we've done, and it's just stayed the same realistically. However, I've seen a massive benefit just in terms of how I feel. I love going to bed full. That's a really nice feeling for me. I've always had like supper when I was growing up, and I'd always have supper with my family, and then I'd head to bed, and I've always loved that feeling. It's quite nostalgic in a way as well. Now, do I feel like eating close to bed is going to affect digestion instead of muscle repair? No, not necessarily, because you're going to be sleeping for a long time, okay? It's the longest period of the day that you are fasted is when you're asleep. So you want adequate amount of food before bed, so that when you are sleeping, when your body's recovering, because that's when a lot of recovery happens, you need fuel in your body to provide that recovery, right? To fuel your body for recovery. And oftentimes, if you train in the morning as well, having a larger meal before bed can actually carry over into the next day, especially if you add some additional fats to slow down the digestion of carbohydrates, and then have something smaller before you train. You've still got that kind of carryover effect from the day prior, and it works really well for me, because I have a big meal before bed. It's my huge cream of rice meal, and then I have one meal, and then I go train. So it's almost like I'm having that meal before bed and then also my pre-workout meal, and it works really well for myself. I thoroughly enjoy doing it that way. Now, digestion wise, that's a very important aspect of it as well. It's person to person dependent, right? Are you noticing that you're struggling to sleep because your stomach's too full because you've eaten too much? Well, then lower it, right? Dish it out throughout other portions of the day. If you're not noticing any other sort of issues, if your bowel movement's constant, no bloating, no sort of digestive issues in terms of you're struggling with appetite, different things like that, like I said, your bowel movements are all good, well, then you're fine, right? Don't overthink it too much. I think those small little details are what a lot of people get hung up on way too easily and prioritize over the basics, right? your sleep, being adherent to your nutrition, your training, your activity plan. So that's including your steps and your cardio, and supplementation, water intake, training, all these different things. Make sure you've got those nailed. And if you have those things nailed, you will make more progress than anyone, okay, than a lot of people, especially the people that care way too much about those sort of minute small things like meal timings and different things like that, because that does have a benefit, but not as a profound one as just being adherent to the basics. Okay, so Xavier, hopefully that answers your question, mate. I don't think there were any others on YouTube whatsoever, so I will head over to my Instagram question box that I posted up and got a fair few questions. So I really appreciate all of you that did send out questions. And yeah, they're quite interesting ones as well. Sometimes I don't get any replies, which is fine. I don't expect anyone to send over questions, but when I get them, it's always exciting because hopefully it helps out some of you there as well. So first question is by D Classico. Was really nice seeing him actually at the gym the other day. DJ, he came and trained at my home gym when I was back home for Christmas and New Year, and saw him there, which was really cool. We had a really nice conversation. But going into DJ's question, which federations will you look to be competing going forward with, and why? So first off, probably most likely going to be competing in 2027. Like, I've got my sights set on that 100%. Diet Coke break. So yeah, I will be competing in 2027. Federation wise, most likely will be PCA and Two Bros, if I'm honest with you. Like, say if I look at my physique and I'm like, damn, or Tim, even my coach, who looks at it and we go, Mikey, we can go pro and we can shoot for a pro card this time round. Well, then it will most likely be prioritizing Two Bros, right? Because there are a lot of the sort of pro qualifier shows where you qualify for pro shows, or, you know, the actual regionals, and then PCA, just because PCA run their shows so well and they're so fun to be in. And, you know, who knows, maybe a PCA pro card might be on the cards, but ideally I want one pro card when I compete. I just who knows. I've got big goals set for myself, and those are the reasons why. Obviously no more natural federations for myself, unfortunately, but, you know, maybe I would compete abroad. I've never competed abroad. That would be something I would definitely be interested in doing, because it's an experience I've never had, and I'm sure it'd be a difficult one, but I'll be up for the challenge. C_Richards__. What workout split would you recommend for a 5-day cycle? Legs are already a strong point. That's a good question. So I think there's lots of different splits that can work around it. I think common ones that I use if someone's got really, really strong legs, and by legs, I assume you mean every aspect of the legs. So your hamstrings, your adductors, your glutes, your quads. I assume you mean those are really good as well. Then it would be like a push, pull, legs, push, pull. Like, you could simply do that, or push, pull, legs, upper if someone's doing a 4-day split, but you said 5-day, push, pull, legs, push and arms, and then a posterior day if you're lacking a bit in your hamstrings or your glutes. Or it could quite literally be like a type of a bro split, in a sense, where someone might do push pull legs, right? And then on the 4th day, it might be 2 specific weak areas of your body. It might be your chest and your delts, so you have a pure day designed for them. And then the next day, let's say you're back to weak area, you do back and arms, right? There's multiple different ways that you can do it, but I think the most important thing is you give yourself adequate recovery for the amount of volume you're doing, and you feel good going into the next sessions, but you're not to the point where you walk out of every single session thinking, oh my God, I could have done way more, because then you can do more, right? But then also prioritizing the weak areas of your physique, making sure you're hitting them multiple times throughout the week, and maybe adding in like little portions of it in other sessions. So for example, delts, right? You can add in 3 sets of lateral raises at the start of the leg day. That's not going to take away from your leg session whatsoever, but it will give more volume across a week for your delts. And also, it's just based on the individual, right? This is where I design my splits for my clients. If I want to change them, I will. But then it's majority done to feedback in terms of how do they feel, how's recovery, are they enjoying the sessions? I always say enjoyment is a key factor. But then, once again, don't overcomplicate it. Just go in, progressively overload, progressive over stimulus, most importantly. That is by far the most important factor. And, you know, if you're noticing other areas are lagging, increase the frequency, change up the split. So hopefully that answers your question there, mate. Snare Alice. how can I get into coaching as an 18-year-old? So I'm not sure whether you mean to get coached by someone or to become a coach yourself. So I'll answer both ways of that. So how can you get into coaching as an 18-year-old to become a coach? I think first things first is learn, okay? Because you're still relatively young, right? In regards to, you probably don't know a lot and you haven't had many life experiences. And one thing about coaching is, I'm not saying I know everything about life, but it's not just physique based. It's not just about the gym. Oftentimes you're helping someone in life in general. That's a massive part of fitness, right? It's someone being good psychologically, someone enjoying life outside of the gym, and you've got to be able to help them do that, right? I'm not only a coach that gives a nutrition plan, a training plan. I also help someone in regards to, someone might ask me about relationship advice, work advice, business advice, just overall mental health, and I'm there for them for those specific reasons, because I know if those things are good, well, then we're going to see a positive correlation with their physique goals, right? So that's one thing there. It's just building up that life experience and doing things yourself, being able to walk the walk as well as talk the talk. Okay, that's very important, because no one really knows, for example, what it feels like to diet unless you've dieted. So if you're completely out of shape yourself and you're telling someone to eat 1,300 calories for the final portion of their diet, and you're saying just suck it up, and you have no idea what it feels like, they're probably not going to listen to you, right? Whereas if you've done it yourself, if you say to the client, look, I'm never going to put you through something I haven't done myself. Like I always say that to the clients, and it's a rule of thumb I stick by. There might be some exceptions, but there hasn't been so far. I know what they feel like. I've been in their shoes, or I've been in worse shoes. Like I've dug myself even harder, and I know you can get out the other end, and I know what type of support they need, and I'm willing to give that support, right? So that's another thing. And then also, like finding educational platforms like Pro IQ, J3 University, just learning, getting a coach yourself, learn from a coach, pick a coach that you look up to and that you can learn a lot, because your coach should answer any questions you've got, right? You're paying them for a service. So if a client asks me, hey, Mikey, you've made this change, what does that actually mean? How is that benefiting me? How is that changing my body? Could you just explain how this works? I'm going to say, no, I'm not going to explain it to you. Of course I'm going to explain it to them, because if you understand something, you're probably going to be more adherent to it as well. And it just makes more sense psychologically, right? So, having a coach and picking their brains, right? That's what they're there for. You're paying for them. If they don't want you to pick their brains, well, you can go to a different coach, right? Every coach will help you out, at least the good ones. And then whether it's you are looking to get a coach yourself, it's just a case of, I think my most important thing that I say to people, even when they inquire with me, I say to them, look, I think it's really important you look around, right? If I'm the first coach you've inquired with and you're not sure what you're getting out there, I think you should go inquire a bit more, find out about more coaches, right? Learn a bit more about others. And it might be the case I'm the perfect fit for you. It might be the case someone else is. And ultimately, what matters the most is you achieving your goal, not what I think, not what's happening to my business, is you getting to your goal. And I'd be a horrible human if I knew I couldn't coach an individual and I just took them in for the money. I'm never going to be like that. There's been plenty of people I've turned away because I know I wouldn't be the right support, and maybe I guided them towards the right direction, or I told them, hey, inquire with this coach instead. They'll be able to help you out more. And it's about having conversations. And then, if it's, say, just a general inquiry, fat loss, muscle gain, prep, whatever the case is, most coaches can do that, right? If they've got results, if you've seen they know what they're doing, then they can do it, right? But the one thing that sets people apart, and one thing that I really look for in a coach when I was getting my own, is essentially, how do you get along with them as a human? Do you like their personality? Is it someone that you're going to want to impress? Is it someone that you trust? Is it someone you're comfortable with to tell things maybe you wouldn't even tell family or friends? Because oftentimes that's what a coach is there for. And being able to do those things massively, massively benefits your journey and creates a fantastic coach-client relationship. And having someone you trust and you're comfortable with is massively beneficial. So finding someone that, maybe is a similar personality to you, or you want someone a completely different personality to you, like list down some ideas of what you want in a coach, inquire. If they tick the boxes, voila. Okay. Moving forward to powerful perk. 3 questions. What are your goals for 2026? Favorite cream or rice flavor, and do you feel any different, enhanced and not now? I actually filmed a TikTok on that just a second ago. So goals for 2026. I'm actually going to open up my notes because I have written down my goals for 2026, and I'm not going to go into them exactly, okay, because I don't think I should, because they're quite personal to me. But let me just get it up. Let me get my notes up. Where are we looking? 2026 goals. So I've got different categories within my goals themselves, and I don't necessarily care about specific numbers. However, I think the benefit of setting goals that are numbers, at least for myself, is it gamifies it. And I like that, right? I'm a child at heart. So if there's a number I've got to reach, I will work as hard as I have to reach that specific number, whether it's followers, whether it's financial stuff, right? Set a number. I'm like, right, there's something I'm working towards. And if I go over it, perfect, right? But at the end of the day, it doesn't mean if I don't hit those specific numbers, I'm not happy, right? But I want to earn a certain amount of money. I'm sure everyone's got goals like that. I've got goals for my coaching business, for MJ Performance. I want to make the best coaching service there is, right? That's ultimately a goal of mine. I want to become a coach that people know the name of, people recommend because of the results I've got, because of the reputation I've got as an individual, as MJ Performance Coaching, and just be at the point where people know if they reach out to me or if they reach out to MJ Performance Coaching, they will get exactly what they want, and they know it's going to be a good service. And that's a goal of mine, of course. I want to be one of the best coaches in the whole of UK. That's a massive goal of mine. In terms of social media, I want certain sponsorships. I think it'd be pretty cool to get like a clothing sponsorship. I would absolutely love that. I think that's always been a goal of mine, and I've set that aside to be a goal. I want to make sure that I have absolutely zero debts the whole of 2026. That's another goal, another financial one. I want to see if there's any type of other business I can start just for the fun of it, because it's not something I want to switch to, but like starting something that's a passion and creating a business out of it is so cool. I really like the process of creating MJ Performance Coaching. This will be my job forever, up until I retire 100%. So it's not like I'm trying to create a business that takes over MJ Performance Coaching, but who knows, right? That would be a pretty cool one. I'm not sure if that will happen within 2026, but why not set it as a goal? I want to travel 3 times abroad, so go to places I've never been, whether it's by myself, whether it's with someone. I want to go on holidays. I haven't been on a holiday in like 3 years. I really have times throughout the year where I give myself a break, because I'm really bad at not giving myself a break. I only took like 2 days off for Christmas, and I was straight back to work. And for the whole year, I took 2 days off, and that was it. So yeah, give myself a little bit of a rest where it's actually warranted. I want to hit an X amount of subscribers on YouTube for 2026, an X amount of followers on TikTok, an X amount of followers on Instagram. And then I want to bring 10 clients to stage. And, you know, I don't want my coaching to become a service that's only for competitors. I've never wanted it to be that way, and I do not want it to be that way. I just want to bring more people to the stage because it's really fun. It's a different type of group, and I've got a good chunk of people competing next year. I think 6 or 7. So we're almost there already. And then another goal of mine is podcast consistently with a permanent co-host, and who knows who that will be, whether that will happen or not. And then I guess another sort of goal I thought of mine is be comfortable with where I am in my life in terms of whether I get into a relationship or not, whether I stay single. Just be acceptant of it, and really live present in the moment. That's a big goal of mine as well, because I've been notoriously bad in relationships previously, and I don't handle them very well. And I haven't, previously I haven't handled being single very well as well. But this time round, it's a completely different thing. I'm completely okay with it, and I have never loved my own company more. I absolutely love my life, guys, if I'm honest with you. And then leading over to your next question. Sorry, mate, I absolutely rambled on for that one there. And then also just bodybuilding wise, of course, a goal of mine is to create the best version of myself. Absolutely. By the end of 2026, I want to be unrecognizable. From the start of 2025, from the start of 2026, I want to be unrecognizable to the point where I've solidified myself as a really, really competitive amateur. Favorite cream of rice flavor, white chocolate hazelnut by Perform, code Mikey, 25% off. If you use the link in the description, it does directly support me. And if you use it, please send me a screenshot so I can thank you personally. All right. But yeah, a white chocolate hazelnut for sure. Do I feel any different enhanced from not natty? Outside of the gym, now, yes. I feel a little bit more energetic and a little bit like just a more positive mindset with a lot of things. That's one thing I've noticed. But then inside of the gym, obviously I'm stronger, I'm bigger, I look better, I'm leaner at a certain... I've never been this lean at 83 kilos ever. Leaner than when I was started. I don't know, I was 77 kilos. But in terms of the gym, I'm going to need to burp. Let me mute this, hold on. Whoops, there we are. Hopefully you didn't see anything. But no, in terms of the gym... When I go into the gym now, I've got this level of aggression where it isn't like anger, right? It isn't like I'm mad at people if they walk in front of my camera, if they ask to work in, if someone's chatting or on their phone. I don't get angry at that. Never will. Trust me. Unless I go on a boatload of trend. No, of course not. I will never be angry. Like even in traffic, if someone cuts me off, I don't beep. I think I've maybe beeped my horn twice in the last... How long have I been driving for? How old am I? 24. 6 years. I've beat my horn twice. Like, that's pretty much it. I try to be very tame because I think aggression and violence is so dumb. Like, why? But yeah, it's like I have certain music on like SoundCloud music, like Larry Wheels edits, Tom Platz edits, and I get this aggression and drive where I literally want to like rip the weight apart, and I'm like, I want to attack it so hard. It sounds cringy, but it's like, I can't explain this feeling. Like I get adrenaline rushing through me, ready for the next exercise. I can't wait. Like I want to destroy myself. That's the feeling I get in the gym. Don't get me wrong, there's some sessions where I'm like, oh, I cannot be bothered, I want to be home. But a lot of them feel like that now, which is a really, really cool feeling. Powerful perk again. One more. Do you have obtained a pro card, or do you have any goals to obtain one? No, I don't have a pro card. And yes, I want to obtain an IFBB Pro card. Iordanizalenti. That's definitely not your name, and I've butchered it. Ior Danisalenti. I'm so sorry, mate. I know I've butchered that. How long do you think a natural prep would be for? As long as you can get away with, to be honest with you. And it also depends on body composition starting off in the prep. That's for sure as well. That's a massive factor you've got to take into consideration. How much weight you've actually got to lose. How many shows you're planning to do. What your goals are within that prep, whether you're a first-timer competitor, whether you've competed multiple times and you know what to expect, if there's certain things you're trying to fit in. But without me rambling on too much about that, I would say minimum 20 weeks, maximum 30 weeks. If I had to say, I think my last prep, by the time it finished, was 30 weeks in total. And the reason mine was 30 weeks in total is because I got to fit in things like Christmas, because I was prepping over Christmas. So I had like an off-plan meal on Christmas. I fit in my anniversary with my ex. I fit in my ex's birthday, and I fit in Valentine's Day with my ex. So that was kind of why the prep was longer. So John, screw my ex. She's a reason I was in prep for bloody 30 weeks thinking about it. If you're listening to this, you definitely aren't, but thanks. Only taking a piss. It was a good time. Really enjoyed myself. And you know, I'm glad the prep was actually that long, because I got to take a little bit of a break during the prep itself and enjoy special moments. So yeah, hopefully that answers your question there, mate. Sean, what food scales do you use? Some off of Amazon. John, let me grab it for you, mate. I shall show you. They are very, very good. BOMATA. That is pretty dirty right now, but it goes to like 0.00 scales as well. So it measures things very, very accurately. And I've also got one of those like mini micro scales, the drug scales, to measure out salt and very particular things like that. Eds, one of my clients, Ed's from New Zealand, mate. Hope you're doing good, Eds. When you get your IFBB Pro card, I love when he said when. That's right, when I get my IFBB Pro card. Would you do classic or open? Damn, That's a good question, and it's something I haven't really thought about too much. Now, Tim, my coach, has said that he wants me competing in classic because I'm not going to be big enough to be open. No doubt about it, right? And he thinks, in a sense, my physique is relatively classic as well. I don't know if I think that. I just think like my bone structure, like how some of my bones placed, like my ribs and stuff, just looks shit. I've got I broke my clavicle when I was younger, and it's like dropped my right shoulder, so it's not super even in certain poses, and it stops me from like rotating in back double biceps. Like, as you can tell, this one like naturally turns in that way, this one like locks itself there. Like small little things like that definitely become a bit of a pain, but I will not know until I compete. I think I would initially compete in classic, and if it got to the point where I could easily outgrow my cap, well, then I'll go into open. I'm not going to limit myself whatsoever. I'm not going to destroy myself dieting to make weight cap. So hopefully that answers your question there, mate. Jamesy Trainsy. James, how you doing, mate? Lots of love. Absolutely love James. Give him a follow. Jamesy_Trainsy. What's the plans for the next competitive season? So I've gone over that. Essentially, I don't have too many expectations or direct goals for it. I need another sip. But do as many shows as I can. I'd want to do like 4 or 5 shows. I'd want to win an overall, 100%. I'd want to win an overall. I would, an ideal goal, I'd get my IFBB Pro card, get my IFBB Pro card if I'm completely honest with you. But I think more importantly, I should reword that. And it's something that Ed Likes Lifting, who I recently had on my podcast, said, where you build an IFBB Pro worthy physique. I think that's what I'd want, because a lot of the times you can compete in like a very, very quiet show abroad and get an IFBB Pro card, and you might not have an IFBB Pro worthy physique, where if you stepped in a pro show versus everyone who became an IFBB Pro around the same time as you, you'd probably come dead last, right? So I would want to get an IFBB Pro card in a really, really competitive lineup and solidify myself as a good athlete, essentially. That would be a goal of mine. But yeah, win an overall, win every single one of my classes, and get an IFBB Pro card. Hell yeah. Why not? Set my goals big. Fips_fit. Has your family always supported you through your bodybuilding journey? Damn, that is a good question. And no, not necessarily. I think... So just a little bit of background. My parents are divorced. They divorced when I was like 12 years old. But my dad was heavily, heavily into the gym all the way through his entire life since he met my mum. And I think when my mum and dad divorced, my mum built a lot of resentment around the gym just because of like how, just divorcing with my dad, right? They're fine now, by the way, in terms of like we have Christmas and birthdays together. They're in the same room. They chat. It's no bad blood whatsoever because they're my parents, right? I wouldn't let them hate each other. But yeah, I think my mum built a little bit of resentment towards the gym. So when I first started going when I was 16, my older brother took me. And my dad bought me like some protein and creatine. And my mum was like, you're not having that steroids in my house, that protein and creatine. You're not having it in my house. You're not going to the gym. You're 16 years old. You've got to be 18. And also my old stepdad, he was quite against it as well. He's like, oh, you're breaking the terms and conditions. And my older brother only got me into the gym I went to because it was 18 and over only. But we knew the manager of that gym. Well, he did, and she was lovely. I saw her in the gym literally like 2 weeks ago, so it's pretty cool. When I first started when I was 16, it's G. It's actually D Classico's or DJ's partner. Weird world, eh? But she let me into the gym. She signed me up. I'm not sure if we faked the age or not. I'm not going to say which company she works for. But yeah, and that's how I went to the gym. And then eventually I was like crying, begging my mum. My older brother came in. He like had a chat with her. And he's like, right, well, let's set some baseline rules where he only goes 3 times a week. And then essentially my mum just saw how much I loved it. And my stepdad was quite against me going more than like 2-3 times a week. So my mum would just say like, Mikey, just go after school as often as you want. I'll pick you up after. I'll say you were with your friends. And then, yeah, that's how it happened. Then eventually it kind of just became my thing where, they saw how much I loved it. And then my mum split up with my old stepdad anyway, so hell yeah. And I could go as often as I wanted. And yeah, my mum didn't really care after that point. I think the only times it has really affected my sort of relationship with my family is when I'm on prep. you know, when I'm dieting, and we've got like Easter is a very big tradition in Poland. You know, we're a very traditional family. Food is a very important aspect to our family, and I had to skip out on these things multiple times, and I think that affected the family dynamic at times where, you know, they felt bad for me or something along the lines of that. But it was never the case of, no, you can't do this, you have to. They were always very supportive of it. And, you know, whenever I competed, my mum, my family, my older brother, my dad was so supportive. My younger brother, my sister, everyone so supportive. They would come to the shows, cheer me on. Like my older brother for my first show, like booked the hotel, like was there like, Mikey, you need me to do anything, let me know, I'll be there. Like, they supported me so much, and they did during this previous prep. They always come to my shows when they can, and yeah, they just cheered me on. And whenever I was, you know, like this prep, I there was times where I was really digging and I felt awful, and obviously just broken up with my partner as well, right, like at 4 weeks out, 3 weeks out maybe. And after my first show, it really hit me that I broke up with my partner. I was like, shit, did I make the wrong decision? I regret this, or what have I done? But it was too late at that point anyway. And I'd like sit there every single day leading up with the 2-3 weeks in between my next show. I just cry downstairs to my mum, like crying nonstop. I was like, don't know what have I done, mum? Like, I can't believe I'm so selfish. Like, I've just done it for a plastic sword or a plastic trophy. But it was the best decision I've ever made in terms of, like, I wouldn't be where I am today if I wouldn't have made that decision. So I'm proud of myself in that sense. But where I was getting to is my mum would stay up. She'd be there. She'd cuddle me. She'd ask me if I'm okay. She'd call me constantly, make sure I was okay. Like, there was times where I was really busy, and like I'd be driving back from the gym, small little things like my mum would take my Ninja Creamy out the fridge when I was driving back from the gym because my gym was half an hour away. Or one time I forgot my cream of rice, and my mum like FaceTimed me when I was driving, and she was cooking the cream of rice for me on FaceTime, weighing out every single gram of everything, making sure it's absolutely perfect, and got it ready for when I was home, because I was like, I need to eat it now because I'm late for my meal. And like, she was, yeah, Mikey, fine, I'll do it for you. Like, yeah, really supportive, and I love my family to bits. My family mean more to me than anything, and hopefully when I get to that age where, you know, I've got my own wife, I've got my own children, I can provide that type of love that my family's provided me, because that's super important to me, and one of the things that I'm most excited for in my future life. So yeah, that was a bit of a long-winded answer and a bit of an emotional one. Joel I as fuck, ASF. How to make a diet plan / structure, how to figure out how much of ingredients you need. So yeah, it's actually a valid question, right? So the way that you figure it out, at least the way that I'd do it, so whether you want to bulk, whether you want to cut down, right? Two different things. So there's a thing called your maintenance calories, where you eat an X amount of calories, which essentially hold your weight. You maintain, you're using the exact amount of energy you need to support your body to stay the same weight. That is your maintenance calories. Now you can go online and type in calorie or TDEE calculator, which is total daily expenditure, some shit, energy expenditure, or maintenance calorie calculator, and type it in, and it will give you or like fill in the details. It'll give you a rough idea of your maintenance calories. Now what I would do from then is figure out a meal plan based on that maintenance calories. So what you do is download an app like MyFitnessPal, Chronometer, Macro Match. I can't remember what it's called. The one by Jeff Nippard. I personally love Chronometer. And essentially, you set those calories as a goal, okay? Rough rule of thumb for protein, I would say for a man, I would go anywhere from, 0.8 grams per pound of body weight that you've got. And that's lean tissue. So a rough idea. So, if you're extremely overweight and you weigh 150 kilos, bloody hell, don't do that much protein. Just do type in on ChatGPT, hey ChatGPT, I think I'm 20% body fat, I weigh this much, how much lean tissue do I have? And just use that number times by 0.8 to 1.2 grams, however much you prefer. That is your protein number. So let's say it gives you 200 grams of protein. Now in terms of fat, what I would do for your fat intake is whatever your weight is in kilograms, I would say times that by 1, and that will be like a maximum amount. Also for females, protein wise, 0.5 to 0.8, I think that's a good number per pound of body weight. But fats, like realistically, you could go as low as 0.5, but then I would only go as high as 1 times your body weight in kilograms. Okay, so I'm 80 kilos or 83. The most my fats would go to 83 grams, the lowest sort of 41.5, whatever you want to call it, right? That's like a rough rule of thumb. And then the rest of it, you fill it out with carbohydrates. So set those as your goals, and then pick foods, put them into the app, okay? Whether you want to do 3, 4, 5 meals and fill in those macros, and then just start off there, okay? And whether you want to go into a diet, lower below your maintenance calories by 250. If you want to go into a bulk, increase by 250. I need to burp again. Apologies for that. But yeah, increase 250, decrease 250. And then you can start getting a bit more advanced by structuring your meals more specifically, where you have a bit more food pre-workout and post-workout, and then maybe before bed, or however you want it there. Adjusting your macronutrient profiles for, post-workout, maybe having less fats so the carbohydrates get absorbed quicker. Pre-workout, have a little bit of fats in there so it's a prolonged release of carbohydrates throughout your workout. Different things like that. But at first, start with the bare basics and you shall do really, really good. Okay, so that is going to wrap up the Q&A section. And if you guys have got any questions you want to ask for the next podcast, far away, leave them in the comments. I don't think I've got any in the previous episode. I actually haven't checked, but hey, too late now. I just want to do a very, very quick roundup of 2025, just what's happened in my life and kind of reflect on it, because I posted a post on Instagram, like a 2025 recap. But what I'm going to do instead is I'm going to scroll to the start of 2025 on my camera roll and just go through a few things. Maybe I'll show you a few of the photos, but beginning right at the start of the year, I started prep, December the 12th, 2024, but I went into prep. I actually got a promotion at the same time for my medical sales representative job to become a regional manager. That's when I got my first promotion. And I actually, at that point as well, sad times, I sold one of my favorite cars I've ever had. It was this Mercedes here. I don't know if you can see, CLA 220D. I sold that in around January time. Absolutely loved that car, but it broke so often. So it wasn't really good there. In terms of just scrolling down, not much happened during the start of the year. Just really I did get quite ill at the start of the year, but it was a brilliant start of the year. Like, there's no complaints for me whatsoever. I thoroughly enjoyed myself. We're moving on to around February time, where I had my old 1-year anniversary, Valentine's Day, and then a little after birthday. Their ex-partners, which was a good time. And that's where I kind of took a little bit of a break on prep, only on those specific days, but I still managed it very, very well. This 24th of February is like the first time I met Finn in person. We went and met at Trained by JP's gym in Cheltenham, because that was where my ex was living. Which was really, really cool, and a photo that I'll never forget. I remember the exact memory where I used to tell Finn, like, I'm never going to get glute striations, and we took a side chest photo. I don't know if you can see. Oh God, this light's so bright, isn't it? I'm sorry, guys. But you can see Finn pointing at my glute because he showed me and told me how to tense my side glute, and I actually had a few striations there, which was pretty cool. And then leading on to the rest of the year, coaching really started picking up, started getting really busy, lots more inquiries, lots of in-person visits, had a great time, thoroughly enjoying building the team, and it was just a super enjoyable time of my life. And now we're heading into sort of March time, where things once again were just a repeat of everything else, just working through growing the business, smashing prep, doing the best that I could to be the best version of myself. I had my younger brother's birthday in March as well, and unfortunately I did not eat at that point. And in March, right at the end of March, I ordered a DJI Osmo Pocket 3, and that's where my YouTube really changed there. And I started getting pretty lean at this point as well, and yeah, that was a good time for sure. Really enjoyed that. Started as well at the start of the year. I didn't mention that's when I first moved over to Falcon. So believe it or not, for 7 years I trained at commercial gyms, and then only 2025 at the start I started training at a actual bodybuilding gym. So you can build a good physique. You can build a good physique training at commercial gyms. And then in April, right at the start of April, Finn invited myself, Drew, Ed, and Tom over to his gym that he hadn't opened yet. So we got a nice little early visit of it. You can see there's a few of us here. Very good memories. Absolutely loved it. If you want a clear review, it's on my Instagram, and got some cool check-in photos there as well. Seeing Finn in person. Leading over to April time was my older brother and older sister's birthday. And Easter time, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. And this is where I started getting pretty lean at this point here, which was awesome. Coaching growing even more, the YouTube growing even more as well. And I'm just going as it long arc. I don't script these podcasts whatsoever, so sorry if it sounds like a hell of a lot of waffle. Went back to TPC end of April time, and this is where like my physique started transforming the most. Like a lot more striations, a lot more lines coming through, and it's like the final little bit of fat loss coming through as well. And this was where I started digging a lot. And then I think that was a TPC or the initial opening day, or either Finn's client meetup. I can't remember exactly. Moving forward to, we're flying forward May time. This is where things get really interesting, because this is when I quit my job. This is when I quit my job as a medical sales representative, and I also broke up with my partner around May time. I quit my job shortly after. And coaching became my full-time job, which is the best thing that's ever happened to me. And I'm eternally grateful, and will be for the rest of my life. What a fantastic memory, and what a fantastic time. I live my dream life now. And yeah, it's pretty crazy to say. 2025 is the best year of my entire life, no doubt about it. And leading on into May time as well, I became an uncle. So Uncle Mikey, my sister gave birth to 2 beautiful twin boys. And yeah, it was a very cool and very special moment, because they're the most adorable babies ever. I love them to absolute bits. Like looking at these photos now, I don't even recognize them. They look so different now. They're so grown up. They were tiny when they were first born, and now, geez, just little rascals they are. But no, absolutely love them to bits. Moving forward, we're starting to get to the point now, right at the end of May as well, where Rough Diesel came to Falcon Fitness. That was a really cool moment, posing with Rough. Let me see if I can get a cool photo. Let's see if I got a cool one. Let's see. Oh, there we are. This is a good one. Rough and I. Oh, there's a client message. Rough and I, little side chest. You can't see because I've got a big light on in the background, but that was really cool. And then leading on, went to TPC one more time to see Finn 1 week out of my first show. And yeah, it's a pretty cool look. Started peak week, and this is where I also, in peak week, so the 4th of June, literally a couple days before my show, bought my dream car, a Tesla. Yeah, that's a pretty cool achievement, because I never thought I could have bought one, and I did, so that was really cool, and I absolutely love that car. I love it to bits. And then fast forward to June the 6th, so literally I bought it 2 days before my show, is when I became the WNBF first time a novice show overall champion, and I won the lightweight bodybuilding class as well, which is a memory I shall never forget. One of the best days of my life. The goosebumps, the feelings, like seeing and being there with Finn, like the hug when he handed me the sword. I was uncontrollably crying. When I say uncontrollably, I remember, I'll say this story very quickly because it gives me goosebumps thinking about it now, where I didn't know if I was going to win the overall. I think Finn was like, Mikey, yeah, there's a chance you can win the overall. When he was pumping me up backstage, he like grabbed me and he's like, Mikey, you can win. And when he said that, the adrenaline, the goosebumps, I was like, right, I'm going out there, I'm doing everything I can to win. And my veins were like popping. I was rock hard. Like, he managed to peak so bloody well, and he brought my best look to the overall. And I remember it all finished, and they hand out a first overall, and I was like, oh, I didn't win the overall. There it is. But it was the classic physique overall. Sean Lopez, and one of my good friends, he won it. And then I saw, and Finn handed it out, and he didn't look at me when he was walking out. I was like, oh, fuck, like, I haven't done anything good here. And then I see like another sword poking through in like the corner, because there was a little apron, and I see another sword, like the tip of it. Sounds really sus. And I was like, oh my God, there's another overall. Oh God, here we go. And I'm trying to look at Finn like round the corner, because I was right on the edge. Funny enough, I've just realized it was the exact same position where I was when I got 4th place in 2023. I've just realized that. But anyway, yeah. And then Finn stepped a little bit forward. I think he was just moving. And then I looked at him and I went, and he goes like that. And I turned around and I look at one of the judges. I don't think he was a judge, but he goes like, I was like, and then I look at Finn and he smiles, and I'm like that. And then they go, say my number. I actually can't remember my number. That's bad of me. I think it's 314, if I'm not mistaken. Let me see if I can zoom in. Or 137, one or the other. Yeah, 137. Just remembered in the nick of time. But then they said it, and I put my hands up on my head, and Finn walked out, and I just gave him the biggest hug. As soon as I hugged him, crying, tears pouring down my face. I could not stop, because remember, I did this show 2 years ago, and I got 4th place in the exact same thing, junior bodybuilding. I was still a junior bodybuilder, but I did the lightweight bodybuilding class because I had to do novice, because I was no longer a first timer. And yeah, just crying my eyes out. I could not stop crying. And then Steph Noble, the head judge, was like, Mikey, compose yourself, we've got photos to take. And I couldn't compose myself whatsoever. And you know, just seeing the photos of like Finn and I hugging, me crying, the natural physique, seeing my family being there, yeah, one of the best feelings of my entire life. Fast forward, you know, in between the two shows, around 3 weeks, not much happened throughout that. It was a very mentally challenging time. I think this is when I really tested myself mentally the most this entire year, where I told you guys that's when the breakup really hit me. And I was digging in between the shows really hard, at least on very low food for where I was during the entire prep. And coaching was getting very, very busy as well. And at that point, I was like, right, I'm not taking on any more clients. I'm stopping all inquiries because I couldn't handle it at the point. And I never want to let down the current clients I had. That was my priority, the service for those clients. And yeah, that was a super mentally challenging time for me. And I was meant to do another 2 shows, but after the PCA Naturals 2, I called it off. I was like, in the middle of the 3 weeks, I was like, I'm just not going to do the other shows. I can't do it anymore. And yeah, it was really mentally challenging. Multiple days crying, not wanting to do it, doubting myself, looking at my physique, thinking I looked like shit. Funny enough, we brought the best version of myself on stage that time. Leaner, fuller, better in every single aspect. And Finn, the legend himself, actually let me stay at his for a full week before I went on stage, and that was really, really cool. So I stayed at Finn's house for a full week, which I thoroughly enjoyed, and created some great memories with himself and Matt Natural Physique's opposing coach there. Yeah, which was a really cool time. Just looking back on some photos now, and I was absolutely bloody diced, but flat as hell when I first arrived. Anyway, yeah, stayed at Finn's, had a really good time, and then competed in the Naturals 2 PCA Derby, and I won my class junior bodybuilding short, and then I came second in the overall, which was really cool. I think if I did a couple things differently, I could have won the overall, and I think it was just down to me mindset wise. But I actually lost to Sean Lopez, the one who won the classic physique overall in WNBF. So if anyone was going to beat me, I'm bloody glad it was him. Wrapped up prep, got a hair transplant. Really, really cool. In between that, not much happened whatsoever. Going on to the other noticeable things that actually happened is I moved in to my flat in around October time. which was really, really cool, and thoroughly enjoyed it. And I love this flat. I absolutely love Cardiff as well. And I didn't mention one thing is just before my WNBF, just before the first show of the season, got sponsored by my favorite company, my dream company I would have worked for, and that was Perform Nutrition. So yeah, pretty exciting stuff. Got sponsored by Perform, and I still work with them now to this day. Leading forward, if I carry on, moved into the flat, had the first MJ Performance client meetup in Falcon Fitness back at home, which was an unbelievable experience. And then I also took my first client to stage, Danny, shout out Danny, where we competed in the PCA London show. First timers, he won the first timers as a natural versus enhanced athletes. And then following 2 weeks later, we competed in London again at the first ever OCB show in the UK, pro qualifier. He won his class, he won the overall, and he won his natural pro card. Yeah, pretty cool. So my first ever client on stage winning a pro card, surreal experience. And yeah, that pretty much wraps up the year. Like the rest of it, not much has happened whatsoever, just like small little noticeable things here and there. But I'm beyond excited for what 2026 has to hold. And just a final message for you guys out there is something I said on my Instagram recently, and I'll just repeat it on here because I it's something that I've heard people say and it helped me a lot, is if your 2025 wasn't good and you feel like, you didn't achieve a lot, or if it just wasn't a good year for yourself, everything resets now. It's your chance, and it's only in your hands to create a year that you're going to be proud of, and start now. Don't delay it, because you do not know what you're capable of. I came into 2025 a completely different person. Coming out of 2025, like I don't even recognize myself at the start of 2025. I'm like, who the hell is that? Like I feel like a completely different person in a really good way as well. I'm a better human all round. I've learned so much. I've had so many ups, so many downs, and so many ups and so many downs. You only learn a lot from it. And if you told me I would be where I am today, going back to January 2025, what the hell are you on about? No chance. But deep down, I knew it was going to happen. I told myself that this was going to happen. I would tell people, no matter how delusional it was. I remember telling my family, telling my friends, I'm going to make this a full-time job. I'm going to quit my job this year. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. And I did all of it. And here we are, right? So yeah, it's pretty crazy looking back on the journey. And going back to what I was saying, I completely lost my train of thought there, is don't listen to yourself up here. Maybe don't listen to the people around you who are negatively speaking about you, or, maybe don't believe in you as much as you do deep down. Do it. Give it a try. Don't sacrifice things to the point where, you put yourself in a bad position, but just go all out. Give it a try, because the only thing you'll do is you'll learn, right? You'll learn and you'll go into 2027 being better. But the only person that can put in the work is yourself, and it starts now. Don't delay it any further, because the more you delay it, it's going to be 2027 in the blink of an eye, right? And I've been there. I'm sure you guys have multiple times as well. Just set your goals, set your achievements, set your expectations from yourself, and don't let it be anything less than that, because once you reach that, you can overachieve and do more. And I promise you that will happen. And even if you're starting off to a bad start of the year, or there's a couple bad days, couple bad weeks, couple bad months in 2026, which is bound to happen to everyone, right? No one has a perfect 12 months. The most important thing is you just get right back to where you were, not let it affect you, and just keep going forward, keep marching forward. Focus on your goals, focus on your dreams, and don't let yourself down, okay? Do not let yourself down, because future you is sitting down thanking you for putting in the work when he knows how uncomfortable you felt, or she knows how uncomfortable you felt, all right? So thank you guys so much for an amazing 2025. I appreciate every single one of you for the love, for the support you showed to the podcast, to the YouTube. Means the world. Instagram, TikTok, and also all of my clients out there. I love you to the bits. I know you all already know that as well. To all the new clients that's starting, welcome to the bloody team. And 2026 is going to be an absolutely fantastic one. I'm super excited to be going into it with you. All the people inquiring as well, because there's a couple people that inquired today, and I will be calling them tomorrow. Excited to have you part of the team if you do join, of course. And I'll finish it off on, if you are interested in coaching, click the link in the description, message me on Instagram, send an inquiry over, and then we shall get in touch. Let's make 2026 a bloody year to remember, all right? Take it easy, guys. Have a lovely rest of your day, whatever time it is for you. And yeah, make it a good one, all right? Don't let yourself down.